What up, ladies and gentlemen, Chen here bringing you guys another video. Today I am going to go over Akshan's matchup in the mid lane. This is going to be pretty much only mid lane, but some of these champions can be translated to top, and the ratings will be very similar. It kind of depends on the lane as well, but overall this will be the mid lane Akshan matchup tier list. If you want me to do something like maybe how every champ interacts with Akshan, I could do that as well. Just let me know down in the comments below. I will not be doing a top lane matchup tier list because I simply do not play enough top Akshan. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the video. As you can see, I've laid it out very simple. We have very hard, medium, easy, and very easy. And then of course all of these are mid lane champs. If for some reason I forgot one, like I went over this multiple times, but maybe I forgot one, you just let me know in the comments below and I'll give you the ratings in the comments. But we're just gonna get straight into it. Alright, so starting off with Ahri. Ahri is going to go in the medium matchup. Alright, medium matchup kind of fits in as a skill matchup, but Akshan is very interesting because he doesn't, it's not really as much about how good the Akshan player it is more about how good the enemy XYZ is. If the Ahri knows how to land her charm, you can never really lane against her. You just have to play for shove and roam. If she charms you while you're Eing, there really isn't much to play around. So that pretty much anything in medium is going to be similar to that, and you're gonna see throughout the tier list exactly what I mean. But Ahri, definitely a medium. If she's very garbage at landing charm, it'll be very easy. You can kill her super easily. If she's good at landing charm, you are going to lose extremely hard. Next up is Akali. Akali is going to fall under the easy matchup. Some of you might think I'm trolling, but it is very, very hard for Akali to actually kill you with her R. Whenever she Rs one, you simply just E away, create a huge distance, and then the chances are she's probably going to int the R2, either tower diving you or something like that. It's very hard for Akali to actually kill you. That is why she's going in the easy braid. Now I will say it's also very hard for you to kill Akali as well, which maybe I would put her in medium, but I don't find not being able to kill my enemy laner as much of an importance rather than surviving and just being useful in terms of the whole game. Akali is definitely going to be a fairly easy matchup. Nothing too crazy though. It's not a free low matchup. You still have to kind of know what you're doing, but definitely going to put her there. Anivia is also going to be another champ in the easy matchup. If she doesn't really know how to play with her walls properly, you should just be able to run her over. You have higher DPS overall, and because of her wall, you can actually swing, and you're too mobile to a point where she cannot get her kind of setup on, right? She's trying to R you, wall you in, stuff like that. You're too mobile, you have your camouflage, you should be able to roll her down pretty easily. Moving on, we have Annie. Annie is going to go in the hard matchup. Very debatable to put her in the very hard. In my opinion, at least for me and NA, there is not a whole lot of good Annie players. Even Tyler 1, Annie is a little bit questionable. Even Annie bots, Annie is a bit questionable. There really isn't a whole lot of good Annie players. So if you play off of their stun, it's not too hard. But what I will say is, in general, this champ just simply counters Akshan, right? She has the burst, she has the stun, you can never really engage onto an Annie towards the mid to late game, and thus she's going to be hard. But in lane, you definitely have kill prio. Moving on, Asol, I'm not going to cap with you guys. Probably lane against Asol maybe once in my whole entire life of playing Akshan. I cannot say exactly how it went. Maybe it was like a fucking while ago. If I had to guess, it's probably very easy. I mean, it just makes sense for the matchup to be free low. First and foremost, Aso is barely a champion right now. You should just be able to spit on him, and he absolutely falls down into the ground. And the only way he can interrupt you is with his Q. You wait for his Q, you EN, you just literally win the trade. Moving on, Azir. Once again, similar case. I actually haven't laned against many Azirs, but from what I can tell, he has a high amount of poke. So I'll put him in the medium tier. I should kind of swap this to a medium skill because this is more about skill than anything. So it depends on the Azir. If the Azir doesn't know what the hell he's doing, it should be very easy. If it's a fucking pro playing Azir, it'll be pretty fucking hard. So we'll put him in medium. Moving on is Brand. Believe it or not, there's quite a bit of Brand OTPs, NNA that plays him mid, and it is fairly cringe. I'll put him in easy. It's not too crazy. You have so much kill prio. If he lands a stun, he's going to outdamage you and probably kill you. But if you dodge the stun, you're good to go. Cassiopeia is also going to fall into an easy matchup. Your E pretty much just completely counters the whole kit, right? She can't really Q, she can't W, she can't R on you because you're fucking swinging. So like, she's kind of fucked. I would put her in very easy, but the champ just has so much burst damage. There is a chance you randomly die if you simply get hit by an R or some shit. You will die. That's a guaranteed. Moving on, we have Cho'gath. Cho'gath is probably going to fit into... I'll put him as hard. He has so many tools to just counter you. His Q, his W, and then his R to just fucking eat you alive. I'd put him at hard or very hard. I'll put him in a hard for now. We can kind of reevaluate later down the line, but Cho'gath mid, you have absolutely no kill prio if he's good because of his sustain, and then he has QW to really be annoying. Corki is also another very interesting case. Once again, you're going to see the medium matchup is going to be very skill heavy based on you / the enemy. Corki is going to fall in the same way. I used to think Corki was very easy until I've been playing against pros who just abuse Corki because he's so much in the meta right now. They kind of just one-shot you, bro, and they do so much more damage than the average Corki player. So once again, it's going to have to fall into the skill matchup. Echo is definitely going to fall into an easy matchup. This kind of hurts for me to say because in my opinion, I think Echo is a very bullshit champion, but I'm not going to be delusional here. It's a fairly easy matchup. It's hard for him to kill you. You have the tools to bully him all early phase. It's very hard for him to play it out, and once you get a lead, he just cannot play the game anymore. Diana mid, you don't see it nearly as much as you see Diana in the jungle, but this champion is absolutely AIDS. There is a couple Diana OTPs in the mid lane, and it's so cancer to lane against them. I'm gonna have to put it as a hard matchup. In theory, you have the tools, once again, to like just obliterate her, but once she starts getting item, once she gets level 6, it's just so much harder of a matchup, and so I'm gonna have to put it at hard, especially if they take bone plating, and her W, of course, she's just too tanky while having one-shot potential. It's really stupid. Fizz is also going to be in an easy matchup, very similar to Akali. I'll put them right next to each other. It's the same logic as their ultimates, right? If Akali Rs you, you just E away, create as much distance as possible. They can't do anything. It's the same shit with Fizz. I actually find Fizz a little bit easier than Akali. I would put him at very easy, but haven't really played against too many Fizzes. It's not really his meta currently, so not a whole lot of Fizz players arising right now, but same kind of method here between these two with their Rs and then your E to dodge away. Galio, of course, is going to be a very easy matchup. If you do not get like 5 solo kills on Galio, I don't know what you're doing. I don't think we're playing the same champion. I'm very sorry. Super easy matchup. The only way you die to a Galio in which it would make it kind of like a medium / maybe easy, potentially even hard depending on jungle, it's just jungle, right? Jungle is just that broken of a rule. If they have a Talon or some shit and they perma-gank you, yeah, you can go next. Otherwise, it's a very easy matchup. You should be chilling laning against a Galio. Moving on, Irelia. This used to be a hard matchup, but I think as Auction main's gotten better at how the champ kind of fundamentally works, it's a little bit easier, but this champ is still bullshit. It's going to be a medium skill level depending on how good the Irelia player is. Not much else to say there. If she gets on top of you, it's very hard to E out. That's why it's so hard. If she didn't have that capability of stickiness, she would probably be very easy because she is melee and you can just E away and do the normal Auction things, but definitely medium. Moving on, Katarina, it's either going to be very easy or easy. I'm not too sure. I'm going to put her more towards very easy just because NA Katarina players, I'm not trying to flame, but something about them is functioning a little bit wrong. Like, they do not understand how the game functions at all. So, NA Cats, just super free. You know, you have every single tool to counter her. As long as you're not, like, too slow with your E, You should always be able to E out of her R, you should always be able to outdamage her, you should always be able to crush her in the early game. So that's why it's going to be very easy. Moving on, we have LeBlanc. LeBlanc is going to be it's either a medium skill matchup or an easy matchup. It's a little bit hard because I'm going to put her at skill. It depends on how good the LeBlanc player is, and I think this is kind of how LeBlanc works as a champion. She doesn't really have any hard matchups or hard counters. It's literally themselves. It's the players, right? If the player sucks dick, of course they're going to suck and they're going to lose every single matchup. But if the player is good, it's actually, this champ is so giga bullshit. But we'll put her at medium. It depends on the skill of the player once again. Kassadin, it's either going to be very easy or easy. I find that when Frozen Heart, Riftmaker, that sort of build was prevalent, this matchup was actually pretty fucking hard. Like, he had enough damage with Frozen Heart to just obliterate you level 6. It was really stupid, but I'm not going to kid myself. It should be still very easy if you're versing against an average cast player, which in NA, most of the cast players are pretty average, so definitely going to be very easy. And it makes sense, right? Cast loses to quite a bit of AD matchups, but don't get too cocky because he does have windows to outplay. Karma, I'm going to put at probably a hard matchup. Some of these picks, like, you're going to see, like, Swain, Set, like, some of these aren't conventionally mid, but you will occasionally actually see them in the mid lane, so that's why I included them. Karma's definitely a hard matchup. She has every tool to counter you. Her W is really, really annoying to deal with. You can't never really go in with her W, her E, and then just her Q poke. Actually, honestly, I would probably lean towards a very hard, but just because not enough players play Karma mid, I'll stick her at hard. Moving on, Orianna is also going to be a hard matchup. How I see Orianna Syndra matchups is they just completely outpoke you before you can even start playing the game. Maybe it's because I'm a bad player or something. I don't know, like, I mean, I am versing against, like, the top challenger tier players who are on and piloting these champs. Maybe it's different for lower elos and they don't know how to poke. If an Orianna player doesn't know how to poke and you can survive their poke, it'll be a super easy matchup, right? But because in high elo, they know how to poke you, naturally you're going to be half HP towards level 3. You can't really go in at a safe distance, and it's just pretty annoying to deal with, so definitely going to put her at hard. Nunu mid, this might seem troll, but quite a bit of Nunu players actually in NA, so I versed against it once. I got dicked on. Maybe it's because I played it wrong, it probably was. But in general, like, even Nunu jungle kind of just counters you, right? If they're going at a speed of light, you will not have enough time to E out of the way. And even if you do E, remember drawing the circle in my previous video on auction guide, my E guide. Drawing the circle, if they come at a specific angle, it doesn't really matter where you land. They're still going to hit you. So I'll put it at the medium matchup. It's not insanely too easy. You also don't really have enough damage to burst him because of his Q sustain in the mid lane. Kiana is definitely going to be our very first champion at the very hard list. Keep in mind the time I am making this is before the Kiana nerfs. Kiana is going to get a grass nerf where she has less invisibility. That'll definitely probably make it into a hard matchup, but for now, we'll keep her at a very hard. She has enough damage to one-shot you. She has perma invis if she desires and just outpokes you, destroys you. There's no counterplay. Really disgusting champion, so I'll put her at the very hard. Moving on, Seraphim Mid. It's pretty prevalent in high elo. You have people like Detention, Q-Pick, a lot of Seraphim Mids actually. It's a pretty easy matchup, I would say. I wouldn't put it at very easy because if they know what they're doing, and personally I play Seraphim Mid as well, you can play extremely safe at the back and you should be chilling just to free scale. Overall, you're going to get outprioed though. You're going to not really do much in that game. So it's going to be a fairly easy matchup. Moving on, Kennen. Haven't versed against many Kennens, but the ones I have, I'll probably just put it at a skill level. You don't necessarily have enough damage to kill him in one combo, and then he has stun, and then his R is of course super giga aids to play against, so we'll put him at medium. Kayle mid should be a very easy matchup. Once again, very similar to Galio. Like, if you're not killing Kayle mid 10 times in lane, I don't know what game you're playing, but it definitely isn't League. Next, Malphite. Malphite's going to be an easy matchup. I would put him at very easy, but once he starts getting item, I'm not gonna lie, it actually becomes pretty fucking hard. It depends on how behind you fall, but once Malphite starts rolling and you don't punish him enough in the mid lane, you kind of just get fucked over. So I'll put him at an easy main. If you know what you're doing, you should be able to kill him enough times to where he doesn't get to that point. But if he does scale up nicely, it'll probably be a medium/hard matchup. Lux, I'm going to put at a very hard or hard matchup. I'm going to put it at hard for now. Lux, of course, has every tool to play against you. It's similar to Ahri. You're going to see that in quite a bit of champs. If they know how to land and predict your E, your swing, with their stun or snare or whatever, you get fucked over. Lux is much more punishing than Ahri because Lux has a shield, so she has more self-peel. She has higher burst than Ahri. She has just more utility than Ahri, so that's why Ahri's in the medium and Ahri's in the hard. But Ahri is definitely, or Lux is definitely in the hard tier because of how her kit is just super safe while being super aggressive. Nico, thank God no one plays this. It's very hard for obvious reasons. You know, her E, her Q, she can W all your E damage, by the way. She can literally clone and dodge all of your E damage. It's stupid, it's absurd, but definitely one of the hardest matchups. Definitely try to dodge this champion. Do not play into it. Thank God no one plays it, to be honest, but it's definitely very hard. Lissandra is going to be hard as well for the same reason as Lux. She has that sort of peel, so it's very hard to actually kill her. And not only that, but she has really good wave clear with her towards when she starts getting items as well. Champions with high wave clear / peel, you're going to find are Auction's highest nightmare, like worst nightmare, because they shove very fast, which means you can't roam as much, and they have kill prio on you, and they have self-peel, so you can never kill them. Basically, Auction doesn't become a champ at that point, so you're going to see that soon enough when the tier list is pretty much done, but Lissandra is definitely hard. Ryze is interesting. I'll put him at skill because, once again, it's similar to like LeBlanc and shit. If the Ryze is good, you kind of get fucked over. But if he's dog shit like most Ryze players, you should be chilling. I should be able to kill him. His W is pretty annoying, and he does outrange you for the most part. So I'll put him at a medium for sure. Moving on, we have Victor. Funny story, actually, if any of you follow the NA scene of streamers. Done, probably the best Victor. I have gotten gapped by this guy like 2 to 3 times in lane. It is actually embarrassing. Like, I single-handedly lost the whole game because he just outrolls me. For the most part, though, most Victors suck dick. I don't know why I can't be done, but for the most part, I beat the average Victor player. Now, in general, I would say he's hard, but just because there's not a whole lot of good Victor players, and it takes a lot of, like, believe it or not, it does take a lot of skill to get good at Victor and get to a proficiency as done in the matchup. You do have a lot of kill prio on him. He does have quite a bit of self-peel, but if you go full burst, you should be able to just one-shot him, and you should be chilling. So it'll definitely be in the medium matchup. Moving on, we have Lucian. Lucian mid isn't played as much anymore, but it should be fairly easy. If you're going mono a mono, you should just simply outdamage him. But if you eat all of his R damage towards like level 6 or whatever, it can be hard, but for the most part, you just completely outdamage him. Viego mid is going to be fairly hard. I know no one really plays this, but I'll just put it here because it was meta quite a bit a few patches or seasons ago or whatever. Because of his camouflage, it's so hard to actually lane it against him, and yeah, I mean, for that reason, quite simple. Vlad I'm going to put at a medium matchup. It depends on the Vladimir player. If the Vladimir is good and knows how to play safe, and also keep in mind you're not building like some cringe shit like Mertread Wit's End, because if you build that, yeah, Vlad's not going to be a problem. Trust me, I mained Vlad for 2 seasons, I would know. But if you build regular, it really depends on how good the Vlad is. If they're playing safe, it gets a bit hard, but for the most part, you out-prio him, you out-damage him, and you're just so much more impactful than him. So I'll put him at the medium. Set is going to probably also be at the medium/hard. I'll put him in medium, specifically for mid lane. I don't know how the top lane matchup goes. I actually haven't laned it against the Set probably ever. I don't even know if I should rate this, actually. Now thinking about it, I don't think I ever lane against this set, to be honest, so we'll put him out of this tier list. Moving on, we have a Yone. Yone's going to be probably skill matchup. I'll put him as skill matchup. Only for the reason in terms of power curves. In the early game, you dick on him. Yes, we all know that. But in the late game, he completely dicks on you. Even if you went 0-10 in laning phase, he still dicks on you late game. So, in terms of power curve, it's going to be in the medium. I would say it's less about skill, but it's just more about power curve, right? In the early game, you beat him. In the late game, you lose. Like, it literally doesn't matter what you do. So in these sort of matchups, you kind of just have to pray that you get a good enough early lead, that you're roaming, getting other people ahead, because for some god reason, Yone power spikes are just too disgusting, and he will demolish you late game, even if we went 0-10. Swain mid is probably an easy matchup, I would say. No one actually plays this. What is up with my tier list? Hello, I've never laned against it, but there you go. Swain should be easy. Moving on, Yasuo. You would expect Yasuo and Yone to be rated the same, but Yasuo is actually significantly harder. I would almost put him at very hard. You can see a lot of people actually... I'll put him at very hard. Fuck it. I'll put him at very hard. The reason is because of his wind wall. His wind wall counters majority of your damage, so you can never go in. And then Yasuo's insane damage / mobility, and then his R, of course. Super Cancer Champ. It's getting buffed next patch, so make sure to ban it when it gets buffed, because you're not going to have fun. That is for sure. Xerath is probably going to be an easy / medium matchup. Once again, if they know how to land their stuns, they should be chilling. If they don't, you're good. I'll put him at the medium for that reason, but in general, it should be easy, just because you should just be able to like out-damage him or whatever, but I'll put him at the medium. Zed is also going to go at the very hard. This is because Zed just burst you, and then his shadow 90% of the time will probably get on top of you when you try to swing out of his R. I've went to practice tool and practiced a way to do against it, and it's very inconsistent is what I figured out. So for the most part, Zed is just not a fun matchup for obvious reasons. He has all the burst. His R follows you if you try to E. It's pretty much whoever bursts who first is what this matchup comes down to. And of course, Zed should be outbursting Akshan. Now keep in mind, he is getting nerfed, so the nerf should bring him to hard, but we're talking in terms of patch 12.2 or 12.1, whatever patch this is, so we'll put him at very hard for now. Vex is going to be a hard matchup. She has self-peel, she has damage, she has engage, she has everything to counter Akshan. She is probably the best counter overall to Akshan in terms of meta defining and actually being a consistent pick. If you want to counter Akshan, pick Vex. It's as simple as that. Zoe's going to be an easy matchup. I would put her at very easy, but it's actually pretty coin flip. If she misses her bubble, you win. If she lands your bubble, she doesn't necessarily win, but it's a little bit harder. So we'll put it at easy. Ziggs, who really plays Ziggs mid? I've never laned against. I don't know what I'm doing. Why do I have some random champs I've never laned against? But Ziggs is probably very easy, if you guys care to know. Vegard is going to be a skill matchup. Vegard is getting buffed, which is scary. I do believe the buff will make him to a hard, but for now it's going to be a skill matchup. If he knows how to cage properly, you're fucked, in which it's a hard / very hard. If they don't know how to cage, you should be fine. You do have damage. Like I said, it all comes down to skill. If they cage, it's not just like any cage, right? Any player can cage on you while you're swinging. It's a perfect pixel cage right when you start your swing that you literally hit into it no matter what. The most advanced Vegard players can do it, and it's so cancer to lane against because you can't do anything against it. So we'll put it at medium. Vel'Koz, I don't lane against it too much, but it is fairly prevalent. I would put it at easy because her self-peel tool is a little bit harder to utilize, which I believe is her E, the small knock-up thing. You know, whereas Lux have those Charm and then Lux Q, those are very linear. Vel'Koz controls it in terms of an area, and it's a bit harder to land, so as long as you dodge that, you should be fine. Talon is going to be an easy matchup as well, just because it's very similar to Katarina. It's only a little bit harder because he can get on top of you. Katarina has a bit more time struggling to get on top of you. Teemo, I know I've never laned against the Teemo mid, but I did want to put it just because I played against a Teemo top before. It was not fun. His blind is Cancer. We'll put it at medium. Chen Mid, thank God this isn't prevalent. I actually haven't laid against a Chen Mid in a while, but from what I remember, it's a very hard matchup. Once he starts going and starts getting his items, you're just fucked. Like, you can't do anything. There's no counterplay, which is why the champ is really stupid, but we'll put it at hard. TF is going to be skill. If you're a good TF, you should be fine, as long as you have your gold card and you're able to pull it off instantly. If you don't know how to, like, play TF properly, you're probably going to struggle a bit, but in general, I find TF to be a fairly hard matchup. I am tempted to put him at hard, but we'll keep him at medium for now, just because if they know how to use ult, they're going to have more prio than you, and it's just not too much of a fun matchup, and they tend to go plated steel caps, so you're not going to damage him and kill him in lane ever again once he gets that item. Sylas is going to be an easy matchup. You have every single tool to demolish him. Not much else to say there. Riven. Actually, I haven't lain against a Riven mid. We'll put her outside the tier list. Syndra is going to be another very hard matchup. The reason why this differs between Syndra and Orianna is because Syndra's Q, or not Q, her E, Scatter of the Weak, I believe is what it called, where, you know, she disperses her balls and it can stun. Yeah, that counters your E. And then she has Poke, and then she has Burst. Good luck playing against a good Syndra. You should all in for. It's not playable. Moving on, Rumble is going to be a skill matchup. It depends on the Rumble quite a bit. Not much else to say there. He has enough burst damage to one-shot you, but if you're good enough and survive that, you should be good. But in general, he has a lot of damage in. You'll find that a lot of champions with a shit ton of damage in laning phase is going to be a bit problematic for Akshan. Pyke, this is just for Davemon because I versed him quite a bit. I put it at a medium. It literally depends. It's such a coin flip matchup. If he gets started and rolling, it's going to be fairly hard, but for the most part, actually I'll put it at hard. From what I can remember, Davemon, in terms of laning phase goes, he actually should shit on you if he lands his stuff. But keep in mind, this is only speaking about Davemon. If you get a random Pyke mid, chances are they don't know how to play the game and it's going to be very easy. But for Davemon, shout out to Davemon. We'll put him at hard. Next, Kled mid. Face against Feeder Boy Kled mid. That shit was not fun. In general, probably medium/hard. We'll put him at hard again. Just because he has so much sticky power with his E. It's very, very hard to play against. Alright, we are almost finished. We have 7 champs left. Jace is going to be a medium champ. I'm going to put it very similar to Corki. Depends on how the Jace plays. If they know what they're doing, it's going to be fairly hard. Because you aren't really necessarily going to kill them. They have peel potential with their knockback, and they have a shit ton of damage. And then, yeah, GP, we'll put medium as well for the same reasons. How you want to think about these champions, right? These champs and quite a bit of champs in the medium category, they have enough damage to kill you, but you also have fairly enough damage to kill them. So it kind of just depends on how you play it, which is exactly what the medium matchup means, right? Graves, I'll put it at, it's either easy or medium. For the most part, you should be killing Graves, but once again, it depends on how good the Graves is. I know that's kind of a repeating factor of this, but you're gonna find that's kind of how Akshan works, right? Naturally, he's gonna have a lot of easy matchups, but it'll depend on how good the player is at neglecting what Akshan can do. It's basically, if they understand what Akshan Kit wants to do and what it actually does, you're gonna have a tough time and struggle. So we'll put it at medium. Heimerdinger, all F4, you can never EN, it's horrible, do not play, dodge. It's close to being worse than Nico. Tristana mid is probably very easy, you should just have enough burst to kill her, she has nothing to do. Malzahar, we'll put it at medium, really depends. If he has a jungler, you're fucked. Otherwise, you should have kill prio for the most part. It's very hard for him to do anything. Pantheon is also going to be hard, very hard. We'll put him at hard because there is outplay potential if you play well. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty. In my timer, it says 29, but I'm gonna edit some part around. It should be like 28 minutes. I know it's a long video, but this is the finalized tier list, ladies and gentlemen. kind of to go over everything, right? In a grand scheme of things, what do you guys see in terms of trading pattern? You see quite a bit of champs actually hard. Like if we were to compare a hard versus like very hard plus hard versus easy plus very easy, they're actually pretty even. Actually, wait, they are even for the most part, right? Wait, they actually are even. So, I mean, there you go. And then media matchups are here. Moral of the story, Akshan can win any matchup if he's good, except for these. And then Akshan will lose to matchups if he versus these, of course. And these should be free low. These should be pretty free low as well. These should be free low if you're a good player. Will be hard if you're a bad player / they're a good player or a better player than you, right? That's kind of how you want to think about this. These are potential dodge angles / depends on team comp, but these in general, if you're laning against these, how you want to play it out is probably going to be playing strictly for roam instead of laning phase. They have too much agency to just demolish you in laning phase, and then these fucking dodge. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. If you found it useful or want another tier list of some sort, like I said, I could do a how Akshan interacts with every champ, right? Because for example, you know, Gwen significantly counters Akshan, and then I could do a whole video on that. I don't know. Whatever you guys want, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. That's it for me. Chen out.